Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Amy.
Oh my gosh, Melissa.
I needed my microphone.
You need the mic. You can't just yell into it. So we have a very special guest with her own cheering squad.
Yes, she has cheerleaders.
So everybody needs their own cheerleader.
I actually
They do.
take a picture
I
of the
totally agree.
cheerleaders.
I totally agree. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience and what you do and where you're from and all of it.
All right, my name is Debby Pinion. I'm an assistant professor of education at Reinhardt University.
Okay.
I head up the reading and the dyslexia endorsement for our university.
Okay.
I also am a retired teacher, and I am the mother of a dyslexic daughter.
Wow.
Oh.
Nice.
So
nice.
you have dyslexia running through your veins.
Yeah, it is part
Literally?
of who I am. It is, definitely. And it
Quite
has
literally.
molded me into what I do as a mom, as a professor, as a teacher of young children as well.
So I'm very excited to hear about this because I'm a qualified instructor, so I'm training teachers to practitioner therapists and other qualified instructors. And one of the things we're noticing that our pre-service teachers or teachers that are still in college are not getting the information they need when they start to go to teach. And I'm so glad to hear that now we have not just structured literacy, but dyslexia in place at the colleges.
Well, that's because they didn't choose to come to Reinhardt University. So at Reinhardt, we definitely put a huge emphasis on structured literacy. Mm-hmm. We also have classes for assessment so that we can assess students and track their learning. Mm-hmm. Then they also see me again during their student teaching experience, and I help them with their ELA lessons and lesson plans. So we all know, and it's kind of a joke at Reinhardt, 1 in 5, if you know, you know. Mm-hmm. So 1 in 5 of your students in your classroom are going to have some degree of dyslexia. It might be mild, it could be more severe. Just like anything, there are going to be variance in every classroom, but anything you do for a child with dyslexia just raises the boat for everybody in your class. So if you're doing a hands-on multisensory lesson, that helps everybody. It's
right.
More engaging, students are engaged, and it's not, you don't have the cognitive overload. So if you're asking students, okay, take out a piece of paper and write 1 to 5, oh no, now I have to have my piece of paper. Now I have to have my pencil. Now I have to write. Oh no, I've made a mistake. Now I have to erase. We've all seen those pieces of paper with a hole in it. Those are kids who are frustrated. How much better if I have a letter tile? If I have a whiteboard? How easy is that? That's easy for your gifted kid. That's easy for your dyslexic kid. Nobody feels that pressure, and everybody then can read.
Well, not to mention, there's also that component of a child who has dyslexia doesn't feel like they're inferior to their peers because everybody's doing the same thing. And also, I think about the fact that when I was going through my elementary education coursework, we had to listen to a child reading to learn how to take running records. And I was taking the running record, and I was thinking, well, geez, he's making a lot of mistakes. But they didn't say anything about what's causing these mistakes. I wanted to know more information, but of course it didn't tell us anything to do with this information. So I'm really stunned to know that that's my experience, and I'm thrilled to hear that you guys are doing something differently.
That was my experience. I graduated in 1980 something or another, and that was my experience. But then I knew that my daughter, who was born in 1985, so 1990, she went to kindergarten, and I knew that I knew ahead of time, because I knew some things. I knew she was clumsy. I knew she put her shoes on backwards.
Yeah.
I knew she had some spatial difficulties, that she would run into things. So I already knew before she went to school that there was something different about Melody. And, but she was just so articulate, and she was bubbly, and she could command a room, and she had, so we put her in dance and music, and she bloomed, but she couldn't read. And so I took her out of school, and I homeschooled her, and I used this thing called Hooked on Phonics, worked for me, and we sat every day and we did phonics, and then by the time she did get tested, they said she was the best dyslexic reader she had ever seen, because she sat right next to me and we went through those books every day, and she did end up being a musical theater major. She's won national titles.
Wow.
She has performed with Dolly Parton and traveled with her. She's been in some movies, but now she is a trainer for a national corporation, makes more money than I ever will. And
that's the education world for us, right?
that's the education world. And sometimes, and I say to parents who have children who have dyslexia, they're probably never going to be a book editor, so find what they're going to be good at. And we really did work on that with her, and now she is a trainer. And in fact, she was at a board meeting recently, and the man who has his MBA was sitting next to her, and he said, you know, I have my MBA. Why are you here? And he said, you have a musical theater degree. What are you doing here? And the CEO heard him say that to her, and he stood up, and she said, Mom, like for the first time, like somebody outside of you and Dad defended me about how smart I am. And he said, she can command a room. She can get people to work together. She knows what it is to struggle and overcome that struggle. And he said, and then when we go to these competitions, Melody will stand and sing, and we bring home the trophy for it.
Wow.
So while she may not have her MBA, she has personal skills. She has skills in other areas, and I think that's really what we need to make sure that kids who have a learning disability, that they find what they can do well.
Right.
Because while everybody can learn how to read, it's not going to be maybe the love of their life.
Yeah.
So find what's going to be the love of their life, because nobody does everything well.
Absolutely.
Nobody, like a great reader. I'm a good reader, but math is not my deal.
Right.
And so, but that's okay, because I didn't become an accountant.
Right.
I became a teacher to teachers. And I tell my teachers, listen, mediocre is already taken. You are going to be excellent, because you're going to be in a classroom with kids who are going to struggle, and you're going to say, baby, I understand this struggle. I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to read aloud in front of the class. I'm not going to time you.
Right.
I'm going to see what you need working. Hey, I know these word patterns. If you're struggling to read the word hat, then I can give you mat and cat and rat and fat until you learn them. It's not that you can't, it's just going to take you more time. And I got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Just because you can't do it at 8 doesn't mean you can't do it at 9. Doesn't mean you can't do it at 10. You're going to learn this, and I'm going to make sure you do, because I know you're not stupid. Other people may say that you are, but I know you're not, and I'm going to make sure that you can do this.
I have no words.
I love your passion.
I have no words.
Yay, there are my students. There's this one of my students right there. And I heard her this morning. She was talking to one of my other students, and they were riding up the escalator, and they said, well, how was your first session? Oh, it was great, but Mrs. Pinion already taught us that. So my
awesome.
heart is full. So I'm glad they took the opportunity to come with me.
How wonderful. And I'm just, like I said, so appreciative that we're seeing it now more and more at the university level.
Right.
You know. I wasn't in college in the 80s. Well, no, I was in college in the 80s, but they were teaching us whole language.
Well, I went to a school that taught us phonics, and so that sometimes the pendulum swings, and hopefully we stay the course.
Right.
But I had been out of teaching because I had always planned to come back to teaching after my children all went to school. I really didn't plan to have 5 children, but I did.
Wow.
And Melody's the second of 5, so I stayed home with her, and then I thought, well, when my baby goes back to school, I will go back to school. And so when Max, short for maximum amount of children I'm going to have, when Max went to kindergarten, I went back as well. And so, and the school system that I taught in has really still always, while we did whole language, we still had a phonics component, to which then that's when you close your door and you kind of do what you know is the right thing to do. But fortunately, I think that we're not going to have to close our doors, that we can keep them wide open because we're all doing the right thing for kids.
So if somebody wants to find more information out about Reinhardt, got the name right? Reinhardt University and the curriculum or the program that you're instructing in, where can they go?
Well, you can go to Reinhardt EDU and just look us up. You can also find me in the directory and email me. But all of our elementary students graduate with their dyslexia endorsement.
Oh, wow.
It's embedded into our program.
Incredible.
So if middle school students have an ELA, they choose 2 ELA and say science, they also get it. High school students, though, we have a separate program for them. It's in our Canvas course. It's online, so there are things that they have to go through in order to understand. It's called reading literacy. So even if you're a math teacher, you go through that reading literacy component.
Right, because
you have
everywhere.
to be able to read.
Yeah.
And I have a high school student this semester in one of my classes. And I said, you know everything about Shakespeare, but if you can't comprehend Shakespeare, what are you going to do? Yeah. And he said, And so I said, well, I've got a course for that. So they work through some structured literacy as well.
Wonderful. Okay, so where is Reinhardt?
We have shirts that say, where is Reinhardt? That's funny that you would ask. Well, it's in Reinhardt, Georgia. So it's in Waleska, Georgia. And beautiful mountains, beautiful campus. You come see us.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Find our reinhardt.edu. And we will meet you at the gate and be happy to give you a tour of our beautiful campus. It's in the foothills of the mountains, and
we would love that.
Great drive.
We'd love that.
We can take our show on the road.
And we'll bring...
take your show on the road. I have a card.
Live
I'll give you my
Reinhardt
card.
University.
So
yes.
Oh, we can quiz your students.
Well, there's
about
one right
dyslexia.
Well, I wouldn't want to put them on the spot.
No,
Maybe
no.
you could give us our questions ahead of time.
Okay.
Pre-teach the information.
Yes.
Spoken like a true teacher.
Well,
right?
I want them to do well.
Yeah.
They're a reflection of me.
So funny. Well, we've really enjoyed having you on today. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having
Debbie.
me. So I'll look forward to your podcast on the road.
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.